I'm Hannah Lucas, and this is my Module 13 reflection. After reviewing the copyright and fair use websites, which areas surprised you the most as breaking copyright laws and not meeting fair use criteria? Um, there was a lot of things that surprised me, but I was surprised by the examples given for the copyrights and the copy wrongs on that website. I learned about the exceptions that are adrift the public domain. So if they're open to the public domain, that they're free access. But I was shocked that there are the actual dates for the copyright, like the before 1923 is fair revisions. Like there were some other dates and stuff like that um, that it actually doesn't apply to. So the actual examples that were given were more helpful to me on the what website? The Creative Commons. I liked it, and the Education World that had the copyrights and copying wrongs and all those other ones. Those websites to me were a lot more easier to read and comprehend because of the examples that were given. The CMSI website was clear as mud to me, and I had to reread it a few times to grasp some of the concepts on it. But I was finding myself confused. I was pleased to read that if the nature of the work is used for nonprofit or education purposes, that they're more likely to be considered fair use. Um, and I also like to read that there hasn't been anyone sued or brought to court or law where um, on education, like on teachers and things like that. That was interesting to me. Um, I've had question number 2: what examples have you experienced where educators have broken copyright laws or fair use policies? And is it that big of a deal? Um, I've had teachers in the past use news broadcasted 9/11 video for our history class. I remember that pretty clearly. I have also seen photos taken from a photographer of a class or a team or something, and they were used on a school website. So I'm sure that there are some other examples, but I would have to have them specifically pointed out to me at this point since I have been out so long for it to be a learning lesson for me that way. Is it really that big of a deal? I think it is. I think that everyone should be creative in their own way and things like that. I think that the good outweighing the bad type of a thing is a good rule of thumb that probably shouldn't abide by, but I feel like that's a good way to know whether or not you're doing harm on someone's original work. So, how did I score on the fair use quiz from the website, and what questions surprised me? I took the quiz twice. The first time I took it, I got an 18 out of 21, and I reviewed my answers and then took it again to make sure that I was comprehending everything completely. So, I was surprised specifically on the question about the 60 minutes question where the there were tapings of 60 minutes in case the teachers needed it, and actually learning that you can only tape something like that if it's requested. So that was interesting. You just can't have them on file. And I also got a little confused on the national anthem question, but because the orchestra could be alive and kicking, it's not fair use to use it. So that's all that I have this week. Thanks for listening.